There are roughly 2 billion Allen keys in the world, one per piece of IKEA furniture ever assembled. Most are in kitchen drawers. IKEA's 2023 annual report records 47.6 billion euros in retail sales. The company didn't reach that number by selling furniture. It reached it by hiring 2 billion unpaid factory workers. Every flat pack product arrives as components: panels, hardware, a wordless diagram, and that Allen key. The customer's task, implicit in making the purchase, is to turn those components into furniture. That job used to belong to someone on a factory floor. It still does. The factory just moved. Logistics specialists put flat pack's shipping saving at around 15%. Denser pallets, more units per container, lower freight cost per piece. Real savings, but not the point. 15% is the reason IKEA tells the story. The labor transfer is the reason the story works. IKEA's accounts don't use the phrase labor transfer, but trace the cost structure of a Pax wardrobe or a Malm bed. Count the hours moved from factory to living room, and the number grows fast. It's the biggest line item in IKEA's model that appears on no invoice. IKEA operates across 31 countries and employs roughly 220,000 people. None of those employees assemble the furniture it sells. That work happens in spare rooms and garage floors, at no cost to IKEA, by people who paid for the privilege of doing it. Before IKEA, furniture manufacturing was vertically integrated. A company like Heels in London ran joiners, finishers, and assemblers who turned raw materials into finished products. The assembly cost was invisible to the customer, but very visible on the manufacturer's payroll. Most of the industry still works this way. Assembly isn't trivial. A trained factory worker takes around 45 minutes to complete a standard wardrobe carcass. An untrained customer, working from a wordless diagram, takes 90 minutes to 2 hours. Both reach the same outcome. One costs the manufacturer nothing because the manufacturer isn't in the room. IKEA's move in the 1950s was to transfer assembly from the factory to the customer's home, accepting the efficiency loss in exchange for eliminating the workforce cost. The labor doesn't vanish. It migrates from the payroll to the living room. IKEA sells roughly 200 million pieces of furniture per year. At 45 minutes per piece on average, kitchens and wardrobes run much longer. That's 150 million person-hours annually. Distributed across 50 countries, in dozens of languages, with a tool that cost IKEA about 4 pence to include. There's no other large consumer industry in which the final manufacturing step is performed by the buyer. Cars arrive assembled. Phones arrive assembled. A flat-pack bookcase arrives as a kit, marked for customer assembly. IKEA has a factory for every piece of furniture it sells. It just doesn't own them. How much is 150 million person-hours worth? At the 2023 UK National Living Wage, £10.42 an hour, UK customers alone contribute over £1.5 billion in annual assembly labor. Scale across 31 countries, and the global figure runs between 2.5 billion and 4 billion pounds a year. IKEA records it as zero. Take a Billy bookcase, £49, around 45 minutes to assemble. At minimum wage, that's £7.82 of labor embedded in a £49 product, a 16% surcharge not on the invoice, not on IKEA's income statement, not in the customer's mental accounting of what the shelf cost. Scale to a Pax wardrobe system, 3 sections, and assembly runs 4 to 6 hours, between £40 and £60 at minimum wage. If you furnished a first flat entirely from IKEA, the week's unpaid assembly bill comfortably exceeds £150. None of it appears on any receipt. What makes this distinctive isn't that customers do work. They pump petrol, use self-checkout, bag groceries. The difference: IKEA's assembly is the final manufacturing step, not an alternative to a finished product. The customer isn't collecting furniture, they're collecting a kit and completing the last factory step in their own hallway. The economics term is externalization of production costs. moving a cost from inside the firm onto the buyer. It exists elsewhere: airline baggage fees, hotel resort fees. IKEA's version is distinctive in scale and acceptance. No other firm has externalized a manufacturing step this fundamental and had customers call the experience enjoyable. In 2011, three Harvard Business School researchers, Michael Norton, Daniel Mochon, and Dan Ariely, published The IKEA Effect: When Labor Leads to Love. The finding? People who assembled a product themselves valued it 63% more than an identical product assembled for them. The participants weren't assembling IKEA furniture. They were folding origami and building Lego. The bias appeared regardless. Effort created ownership premium wherever it showed up. What Norton found wasn't an IKEA quirk. It was a cognitive trait. IKEA didn't create the effect. It built a business around one that was always there. A wardrobe equivalent from a British competitor, assembled, delivered, costs roughly £800. The IKEA version, similar specification, £500. Part of that gap is materials efficiency. Part is scale. Part is the customer absorbing the assembly cost. The customer doesn't experience it as a cost. They experience it as a discount. The double mechanism runs simultaneously. The lower price creates the purchase. The assembly labor creates an ownership premium. The customer values the furniture above a pre-built equivalent at the same price. IKEA captures the labor. The customer gets a wardrobe they feel they built and earned. Both halves close in IKEA's favor. Did Comprad design this? The IKEA Effect paper was published in 2011. The flat pack transition began in 1956. Comprad couldn't have read Norton, but the outcome wasn't accidental. The 1956 decision was an improvisation. What Comprad chose to do with it, institutionalizing customer assembly across every product line, was deliberate. The year is 1956. Älmhult, a small town in southern Sweden, 4,000 people, home to IKEA's first showroom. A designer named Gillis Lundgren is loading a Love-It coffee table into a car for a catalog photo shoot. The table doesn't fit. Lundgren's solution took seconds. He unscrewed the table's legs, packed the panels flat alongside the top, and loaded the components into the car. The table arrived undamaged. When Comprad heard, he didn't see a logistics workaround. He saw a principle that could structure an entire company. Within a few years, every IKEA product was redesigned from scratch for flat pack. Not passive adaptation, but active reconstruction. Comprad commissioned designs engineered so an untrained adult could assemble furniture without specialist tools. The Allen key became the universal interface. One tool, every product, no expertise required. The Billy bookcase, launched in 1979 and designed by Lundgren, is the canonical result. By 2023, IKEA had sold more than 130 million Billy units globally, each assembled by the customer, each delivering around 45 minutes of unpaid labor, for a product that launched at the equivalent of £40. What Lundgren stumbled into in a Swedish car park, and what Comprad chose to institutionalize over the following 2 decades, was the discovery that customers would accept the final manufacturing step, provided the price reflected its removal. The Allen key was the contract, the instruction sheet was the training manual, the customer was the factory. Why haven't competitors simply replicated this? Any manufacturer can ship panels in a box and include a wrench. Argos, Wayfair, dozens of European rivals, all sell flat pack. None have replicated IKEA's economics. The format is easy to copy. Everything that makes it viable at IKEA's price points is not. Part of the answer is manufacturing integration. In 1991, IKEA created Swedwood, an in-house division running sawmills, particle board plants, and factories across 11 countries. By 2022, rebranded as Inca Manufacturing, it operated 41 production units. IKEA doesn't just design flat pack, it controls the supply chain that makes the price points work. Part is the showroom. An IKEA store is a preview. Every room set shows the assembled version of what arrives in a flat box, staged in a domestic context. The customer sees the destination before the journey starts. That's why assembly feels like replication rather than invention. And part is pricing architecture. IKEA prices products at points that make assembled alternatives feel like a luxury premium. A competitor absorbing assembly costs, staff, quality control, logistics, cannot match IKEA's sticker without subsidizing losses. The Moat isn't the flat pack format. It's everything that makes the format economically inevitable. Competitors face a three-front problem: no manufacturing integration, no showroom infrastructure, and no accumulated pricing expectation. Over 70 years, IKEA has trained the market to expect that furniture requiring assembly costs less. That expectation is the deepest part of the moat, and the one competitors cannot simply purchase. Every business model has a constraint. IKEA's is time. The model works only if customers have the hours, the tools, and the patience to complete the assembly. In 2017, IKEA acquired TaskRabbit, a gig economy platform matching customers with contractors. Its most requested task? IKEA furniture assembly. IKEA paid an estimated £200 million for a company whose purpose is to do what IKEA designed its customers to do themselves. Not a contradiction. Market segmentation. Some customers want the price and will do the work. Others will pay to skip it. TaskRabbit serves the second group at scale. IKEA now offers assembly services across 21 markets. In the UK, assembly for a standard wardrobe runs around £140. Add that to the £500 product, and the combined price reaches £640, approximately what an assembled competitor charges. The labor cost hasn't disappeared. It's just visible again. IKEA's assembly service revenue has grown above 20% annually since the TaskRabbit acquisition. Customers paying for assembly are reversing one of retail's most profitable decisions, restoring a labor cost IKEA spent 60 years training the market to absorb. The model isn't ending, it's bifurcating. The labor transfer deal was always negotiable. IKEA set the terms in 1956. The market accepted them for 7 decades. A growing assembly service segment is the first serious renegotiation, which raises a genuine question. Who holds the better side of this deal, IKEA or the customer who picks up the Allen key? 2 billion Allen keys, one per piece of IKEA furniture since 1956. Most used once, then into a drawer. Each is the token of the same transaction. In exchange for a lower price, the customer agreed to finish the product themselves. The key is the contract. The drawer is where most contracts end up. The deal, stated plainly, IKEA eliminates factory assembly from its cost base, passes part of the saving to the customer as a lower price, retains the rest as margin. The customer performs hours of unpaid labor, receives furniture at a price no assembled competitor matches, and considers the whole thing a bargain. The IKEA effect compounds it. The 63% ownership premium means customers finish assembly more satisfied than they would be with pre-built furniture at the same price. They love the wardrobe more because they built it. IKEA engineered nothing to produce that feeling. It was already in human psychology, waiting for a business model. In 1956, Gillis Lundgren unscrewed a table's legs in Elmholt because the table wouldn't fit in a car. Comprod saw not a logistics fix, but a principle. Furniture in 2 phases. Factory first, customer's home second. That principle is now 70 years old and still defining the largest furniture retailer on earth. Ingvar Komprad's stated ambition was furniture for the many, not the few. IKEA delivered it, design-led, accessible, across 31 countries for 7 decades. What the phrase leaves out, and perhaps always has, is simpler. The many were also the workforce.